teachers, welcome to the episode number 8 of my ELT Glossary, a place for new and experienced English teachers that really need or want to learn more about the ELT terminology. If you haven't been to my channel, I'm Mary, and today you are going to see 5 amazing English teachers from all over the planet explaining one ELT term each. Don't forget to check their social media, they are going to be linked down below. So this is really useful, especially if you're planning on taking a Delta, a CELTA course, or even pursuing a master in TESOL. Get ready to take some notes, because here they come.
Hi there. I would like to talk to you about the word dyslexia. Many people think that dyslexia is just a thing of reading and writing, but there's much more towards dyslexia. Dyslexia is all about how the brain processes information that it receives, and the fact that the brain processes the information in a different way. Yes, it does affect, most of all, reading and writing, but also working memory, understanding vocabulary, organizing your time when you work on different items, focusing, etc., etc. It is very important that any language teacher understands what dyslexia means and understands what dyslexia does to the student, and also should be able to adapt their lessons to the students with dyslexia. Because the beauty is that whatever you do specifically for your students with dyslexia also works for the other students in the classroom. And now you might think like, okay, but how many students with dyslexia are there in the classroom? Well, 10 to 15% of people have some sort of dyslexia. 10 to 15% of the students that you will see in your career have dyslexia. The problem is that many teachers don't know about it and don't know how to recognize it in their students. And many students don't even know about their dyslexia themselves either. That's why dyslexia and dyslexia awareness are so tremendously important. We shouldn't make a drama out of it. We should work with it. We should take dyslexia as an opportunity. And we should all say, long live the dyslexic brain.
Hey teachers, Shannon here from TEFL Horizons at TEFLHorizons.com. And I want to ask you, have you ever had this experience where you give your students a task, you put them in pairs or small groups, open the breakout rooms if you're teaching online, and then nothing happens?
No!
What's going on? Is it that your students simply don't want to speak? In reality, it might not have anything to do with your students and their motivation. It might just mean that the task you set needs more scaffolding. So just like physical scaffolding can support people who are working on a building, scaffolding in a lesson supports the students as they're working on a task. Imagine a staircase with 10 steps. Now think about just the top of that staircase and imagine that you took away all 10 steps leading up to it. If you asked your students to jump from where they are now at the bottom of the staircase directly up to the top with no steps in between, they wouldn't be able to do it. However, once you build each of those 10 steps leading up to the top, they just need to take one easy step at a time. So by the time they get to the top, it wasn't really that difficult. So in the same way, if you ask your students to do a more involved or complex task or activity in your lesson, and you don't give them any scaffolding, you don't give them any steps leading up to that activity, that ultimate goal, it's going to be a lot more difficult for them. So for example, let's say you want your students to have a debate in a speaking lesson. If that's where you start, you just jump right in and ask them to debate a topic with no smaller steps or scaffolding first, they won't be able to do it nearly as confidently or successfully as they could if you gave them more support first. They'll only be using the language that they already know, and they'll probably feel a little bit put on the spot if you don't give them any time to really think about their position on the issue and how they're going to express that position in English. On the other hand, let's see what it might look like to scaffold that debate task. So the smaller tasks that we can do leading up to that debate could be things like, for example, first showing the students a short video clip of people having a debate, or letting them listen to a short audio clip of people having a debate. That way they'll have a better sense of how it's meant to work. You could also teach the students some helpful phrases that they could use for stating their opinion and for refuting the opposing opinions. You could give the students some brainstorming time and let them take notes about what specific points they'll use to try to persuade the other side. Each of those activities becomes a smaller step on the staircase that you're building for your students. So by the time they get to that big task, the debate task, they're feeling confident, ready, and excited to participate in their pairs and groups.
Hi, I'm Vera and I'm taking a look at Pelmanism. Now, don't let the name scare you away. It's not a medical diagnosis, but rather a powerful tool for a classroom. The term Pelmanism originates from Pelman University in London, where academics developed a brain training system to cure forgetfulness, depression, procrastination. In ELT, Pelmanism is synonymous with a classic memory card game in which players uncover pairs of matching cards. It's a must-have tool for revising, recycling, and memorizing vocabulary. Plus, it's versatile enough to practice various grammar points. Now, let's delve into the procedure. Step 1. Prepare a set of matching cards. You can create the cards yourself. I personally use Canva, or download ready-made ones like these examples from the British Council website. For intermediate and advanced levels, Pelmanism shines when working with collocations, phrasal verbs, idioms, functional language. Beginners, on the other hand, can start matching the pictures and the written words, or match the words and their phonetic transcriptions. Step 2. Once your cards are ready, organize your class into small groups or pairs, or let the students work individually. Step 3. Give clear instructions and demonstrate it with a strong student. Finally, Pelmanism injects excitement and engagement into the learning process, making vocabulary acquisition not only easy, but also highly effective. Thank you.
Hi there, my name is Natalia Ciancaglini, and today I would like to talk about gamification. What is gamification? Gamification is the use of any element of game in your classrooms. My question is, do you use enough games when you teach? Well, if you don't, you should. Many teachers believe that playing games is just for kids. However, and according to my own experience, using games with adolescents and even adults can be a fun and engaging way of learning. Games are a super powerful tool if you want to review topics as a warm-up, as a close-up of a class, to remember concepts, even to evaluate. Yes, to evaluate. You can use a game and you can see how the students are doing and dealing with some topics. You can use plenty of games in your classroom, whether board games or with paper games, or you can create any type of games in the classroom. However, there are wonderful websites, which I will leave you here in the comments below, where you can find lots and lots of resources and games that can really engage your students in the classrooms. So next time you think about playing games or not, well, you should. Of course, these games, they must have a purpose, not just for fun or just for playing games. They should have a name. And if you play these games in the right timing, in the right moment of the class, I guarantee you will have wonderful results. So I'll start using games and have a wonderful day. See you.
Hi, I wanted to talk about the need for sufficient repetition when we're teaching our students. You could ask the question, are your students simply studying English, or are they learning to speak? If what we want to do is help them to learn to speak, I think there's often the need for enough repetition, both for them to hear the new words or phrases and also have multiple attempts to actually repeat them. As you probably know, when you've learned a foreign language, hearing a word or a phrase once was never sufficient. You needed to hear it again and again and try to say it probably several times. And there are certain ways of doing this. For example, if it's a longer word that has a difficult pronunciation for students. So, for example, the word comfortable. So we just say comfortable, repeat, and they all probably struggle a bit. We could break it up into its syllables and, for example, start from the front. This is called front chaining. So it would be something like comfortable. So we're building it up from the beginning and showing the different syllables. And we could do, if it's in a classroom with a group of students, we can do something called choral drilling, where you say the phrase or the word and you invite the students to repeat in a group. And then you check, inviting a few individuals to repeat, gesturing them to repeat it. Other times you could also have back chaining, where you start from the back of the word or the phrase and gradually build it up. And you could do whole phrases or questions. So, well, I hope that might be useful.
So that was it for today. I hope you learned a lot with these teachers. Their links are going to be here in the description. And if you want to be in one of my videos, just hit me up and we can talk about it. Happy teaching!